What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty from Ty Drives Behind the Camera, as always, and this is the 2023 Volvo C40 Recharge in the Ultimate trim. And this is pretty much going to be an ultimate in-depth tour and test drive of this vehicle. So we're basically going to start on the outside, make our way under the hood, see what kind of storage space we're working with under the hood, since this does have a little bit. Also discuss drivetrain and everything underneath that hood too. We'll then pop the trunk, see what we're working with back there, as well as checking out the back seats, and finally checking out the front seats. You're going to want to make sure to stick around to the end of the video, because that is when we are going to do our test drive of this vehicle. But let's get straight into it. We have full LED headlamps with our pixel lighting, which is pretty neat. We have LED high and low beams, turn signals, and daytime running lights, so all LED units up top. And we also have some pretty neat headlight washers too. Very nice thunder gray, sort of an almost flat gray color, but it does have some metallic in it. We have nice LED fog lamps down below and parking sensors that span the front bumper. And we also have a front camera for the 360 degrees view camera system. So pretty much Volvo XC40 up here. But as we work our way towards the back, you'll see the difference between the XC40 and the C40. Very nice hood design with some little creases that go down towards the grille, and pretty cool little turbine style wheels. And they measure up at 20 inches, so pretty large for an SUV of this size, to 35/45 in the size of the tires. And we kind of have a combination of the machine face of the wheel and black inserts. We also have black cladding that goes all the way around the wheels and down the side to protect that thunder gray paint. Nice blacked out elements going around the windows and the mirror. And up top we have the full panoramic sunroof and the shark fin antenna. Taking a look around, we have blind spot indicators in the mirror as well as LED turn signals. And the smart key entry on all four of the door handles. You just tap this button here to lock and hands behind the handle to unlock. And again, that goes for all four of the door handles. And this is the angle where the C40 really sets apart from the XC40. You can see this sort of sportback shape, and even more when we get to the back of the vehicle, you see a pretty neat spoiler. So that's basically the differences between the XC and C. We have the charging door on the driver's side, which is AC and DC compatible. And LED tail lamps back here for everything, including the tail lamps, the brake lights, and the turn signals. So very nice looking when they're on as well. Badging back here, we have the C40 Volvo across the tailgate and the Recharge twin motor badge on the other side. And take a look at the spoiler setup. Look at that spoiler. That is pretty interesting. Sort of a hexagonal, half a hexagonal shape for the spoiler, and even another spoiler down at the base of the glass. Down here we have parking sensors, the reversing camera and trunk lease right up here, and rear fog lights. So pretty funky styling, but I definitely dig it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Alright, so now that we've got the hood popped on the C40 Recharge, I suppose it's a pretty good time to discuss the powertrain. So we are working with two different electric motors, one on each axle, and that is good enough to produce 402 horsepower and 487 pounds-feet of torque. And that is good enough for an estimated 226 miles of electric range. Now, there isn't much to look at under here. As you can see, it's really all blocked off, which is interesting. We only have the wiper fluid, the washer fluid to refill. But they do give you some storage. If you open up this container, it'll kind of lock into place like so. And you have a little bit of storage in there. It's carpeted on the bottom, and we also have our tire inflation kit at the bottom there too. Alright, so of course the C40 will come standard with a power liftgate. And once we get back here, looks pretty good because we have just about as much space as an XC40 would, with a little bit of restrictions of height due to that nice fastback look. But take a look back here, we have color matching blue carpeted floor mats. And wait till we get inside, you can see the blue carpets in this car. And we also have all of the charging equipment. Pretty neat the way they designed the rear floor back here. We have some tools and jack in case you need to change a tire, and some extra storage on the other side. But you can also kind of fold this lid over here to make it sort of a cargo divider, which is pretty neat. Up here we have a couple of buttons to close and lock the trunk, and you can also just close it. Alrighty, taking a look in the rear seats. Pretty neatly shaped rear door. And take a look at the blue carpet. It's very neat. Even on the inside of the door, all the storage is carpeted. And the carpets are colored blue, which is a very interesting color choice. All soft to the touch material all the way down here where your arm is going to rest. You have a lock unlock button and the window switch. A pretty neat door handle back here too. A little bit of storage on the bottom side of the seat as well, and very nice combination of suede and leatherette material. Nice headrests that will fold down in case you need to get more visibility out the rear, and these seats will fold down flat, and you do have a ski hatch or like a pass-through for the center. You can fold those seats down with that little lever right there. Now, I am 5'10", and I adjusted the front seat to a normal driving position for myself, and I still do have a couple of inches of legroom despite this being a small SUV. Pretty comfy back here with the seats too, and if you had to in a pinch, there's definitely enough room to fit a third passenger back here. We have two air vents, pretty neatly styled back here, and two USB-C outlets with both outer seats being heated. The panoramic roof continues very nicely back here, and you also have some tap illumination. You have a center armrest that lifts up if you have a center passenger, and or I should say center headrest, and we also have a center armrest which will come down with a couple of cup holders. Alright, so the driver's door has pretty much the same materials as the rear doors does. Has this pretty neat pattern for the interior trim, which just kind of looks like a boring plastic, but I will explain just a little bit later in the video what that's all about. We have 2-person memory for the driver's seat and one of 13 speakers for the Harman Kardon audio system. Nice door handle. We also have powered locks for the child locks in the rear. All of our regular window controls. Power mirror adjustments, and you can kind of press the left and right button simultaneously, and that will kind of fold the mirrors in. We also have lock and unlock buttons and a nice large amount of storage towards the bottom with that pretty cool blue carpeting. Towards the left of the dash, we have an air vent and a trunk release. And underneath the steering column, you can kind of see the lever for the tilt telescoping steering wheel. Again, blue carpeting, a little bit of storage to the side over here, and we have our pedals and the hood release. I do apologize about that beeping going on, but we're losing daylight here, so we have to get this done. Very nice seats up here with the suede and contrast stitching and everything. And full powered seats with 4-way lumbar, and you also have that thigh extension with the little adjuster right over here. Now let's hop in and see what the driver's cockpit is like. Alright, so now that we are seated inside of the C40 Recharge, this is the key we get. Pretty traditional Volvo key with a nice emblem on the face. We have lock, unlock, trunk release, and the panic alarm. Then also we have this little slider here, and that will actually slide the top of the key fob off, and so that you have access to a physical key in case you need it. But basically how you start this car is just put your foot on the brake and put it in whatever gear you want, either drive or reverse. So we'll just basically do that. Put your foot on the brake and put it down into drive or reverse. And from there, you can put it back into park and everything will be still powered on. But let's take a look at what's right in front of us right now, and that is a very nice leather wrapped steering wheel. It's a pretty neat design too. We have all of our adaptive cruise control thanks to the ultimate trim level, and all of the buttons for our radio, so up and down for the audio volume and skipping between different tracks or songs. We also have those voice commands and a little page button for the screen up top. Behind the steering wheel, we have all of the controls for both our front and rear fog lights, automatic high beams, and just the regular automatic headlamps, as well as your turn signals. And for the right, we have the wiper stalk. So taking a look up here, we have a fully digital instrument cluster. Very nice. We can actually toggle the Google Maps up here. Although, you know, this is very new of the truck, it's still got to get the Google programmed into it, but Google Maps will show up right in the middle of the instrument cluster once you press this little page button. And to get more trip information, you could pretty much just press the central button here. It'll show you a bunch of trip information, but basically what you see is what you got. So you have kind of the speed over here, some of the lane keeping assist, and sort of your charge with the regen braking and the power when you press the gas pedal. So pretty simplistic cage cluster, but very nice looking nonetheless. Taking a look up here, nice dash. We have a Harman Kardon speaker up top, and that brings me down to the new Google base infotainment system. So pretty simple, easy to get used to system. It has Apple CarPlay, and of course your Google pretty much takes the place of the Android Auto. So this is pretty much your home screen. You can press this button here to get a different jumbulation of a couple different things. Press on the Apple CarPlay over here. We have the Google Assistant. We also have the Range Assistant, which gives you your potential miles and estimated also how you're driving and things like that. Pretty neat. And there's one more thing, such as the car status, such as the tire pressure monitoring system and things like that. Go back to home with this central button over here. We also have the Google Maps. Again, Google Maps not programmed in this vehicle yet because it's brand new, but of course you will have it. We have all of our radio over here, which is the we have the Bluetooth audio, and then we can also connect different sources with such as the FM audio, the XM audio, all that good stuff of our phone screen right there. And it'll kind of bring up our last used app on the bottom. We have all of our cameras, so we have a 360-degree camera system. I pointed out a couple of those to you on the exterior. Right now we have the rear view camera system, and we can also press the 360. Very nice when you're in drive or reverse. This actually automatically pops up when it senses that you're going into a parking spot. So without pressing any buttons or anything, the 360 camera will pop up upon entering a parking space, which is pretty cool. And if you want to see the front camera, you just press on the front of the vehicle. And if you want to see the side cameras, you just press on the sides of the vehicle. Turn the parking sensors on and off, as well as the auto braking too. Right over here we have our driver's seat heating controls and the heated steering wheel, and over here we have the passenger heated seat. And we have a kind of devoted climate control menu here with our defrosters and AC settings up top where you want the air to come out. Your fan speed over here and our dual zone climate control. You can sync those with the button right in the center. Otherwise, it is a dual zone climate control with the temperature. We also have some settings over here that we can go through, such as some driving modes. You can press the off-road mode on and off, your steering assist for the lane keep, all of that good stuff, and you can kind of turn on and off the one pedal drive, which we're going to turn that on for the test drive, which should be pretty neat. Going back, we also have some charging options, different sounds, so you can adjust the audio system over here for the Harman Kardon speakers, and lots of other things for other controls. You could fold the rear headrest, things like that. Very cool interior lighting for this vehicle. So you can see all of these sort of panels in the car, and it just looks like regular boring plastic with a pretty neat pattern. However, it is actually backlit. So at nighttime we have the gauge dimmer up. It is all backlit. So this whole portion, and even on the doors and everything, lights up in this really neat pattern. So pretty neat lighting in this vehicle. And that pretty much does it. You can set up different profiles and go through some Google system, settings and system settings and things like that. But that pretty much does it for the screen. One more thing, you can also swipe from the top, kind of like a tablet or something like that, and you could set up different users and things like that. But taking a look down below, we have 2 physical buttons for the defrosters. We have our 4-way hazards and the different radio stations button, pause and play, and then the center knob is the volume button. Down here we have 2 USB-C connections as well as a 12-volt power outlet and the wireless charging pad right in the center, and then you have little spots in between, or to either side I should say, to put various things. Again, single speed transmission for the Recharge models. Pretty neat gear selector there too, though. Have a little hollowed out center. Again, we could put it down into drive like so, and up into reverse like that, in which your backup camera will automatically pop up, and then you have a little P here. And the P will activate the park gear and the transmission, as well as the parking brake, which is pretty neat. So one button does it all. Little storage console up in front of the gear shifter too, to put little things like change. 2 cup holders right here, and one of my favorite elements for the XC40s is this little trash bin. Take a look at that. You just press the button in here and you put whatever trash, and when it gets full, you remove it and empty it out. Pretty neat feature. Just something so simple goes a long way. You also have a little bit of storage behind that trash bin and a pretty nice, soft to the touch center console lid. Again, some of that trim as I was showing you before, and a nice little glove box, soft plastic on the inside and illuminated. Full black headliner, and we have some pretty nice visors. You can open that up. We have a mirror and a light. And the center stack is pretty simple. We have pretty much just the lighting in here. You can turn all the lighting on, and we have some SOS and emergency buttons. And that is the full panoramic sunroof. Now, kind of disappointed that there is no window shade, because on those hot days, you just don't want the sun beating on you. You don't have that choice of closing the shade, and you also don't have the option of opening it up. It's a fixed glass roof, so a couple of letdowns up there on the C40 Recharge with the sunroof. But overall, a very nice, stylish interior. Let me know what you think in the comments of the design of the interior. Now let's get this thing out on the road and see how it drives. All right, now that we're behind the wheel of the C40 Recharge, we could see how it drives. Now again, have that one pedal driving activated, so it might take me a little bit of getting used to. This is the first car I've driven with a true one pedal driving. So you might see some bobbing and weaving going on here, but it is pretty easy to get used to. And you just kind of modulate some of the gas pedal and letting off as your brake pedal, which is just a very strange feature, especially when you see a car coming in your direction. But throughout this test drive, we're going to take it around the block here down to a dead end. We're going to get a turning circle test for those of you city goers who are in and out of the city, or maybe even live in the city. It'll be a good test for you to see what the turning circle is like, in case you're in and out of parallel parking spots and things like that. Just very interesting, this one pedal drive. I never imagined to be able to drive a car with just one pedal, and it really does work pretty well. The brakes go on pretty good if you take your foot fully off the gas pedal, to where the point where it truly is almost a one pedal drive, unless you really have to slam on your brakes for some reason. But turning circle is pretty good, but due to the nature of the smaller architecture of this car, it's pretty common of a car of this class to have a good turning circle. It's always better to have a smaller car in the city because of that reason. Now, I have driven a XC40 Recharge before, but never a C40 Recharge. I would assume it's fairly similar. And the XC40 Recharge really just blew me away with the acceleration. And I'm sure this car will do the same. It's a little over 400 horsepower. 0 to 60, they say, is around 4.5 seconds. Pretty fast for a car of this class, if you ask me. And we'll definitely get an acceleration test coming up here. One thing you immediately notice in the C40 is you have a pretty small view out the rear. It is just enough, but I recently purchased a Camaro, and they are very known for having a terrible visibility out the rear, and I would say this is even worse. But again, definitely doable. You get used to it pretty fast. Yeah, hopefully we'll get this car up to about 45-50 miles an hour. Got a little bit of late in the day traffic going on here, but at the speeds we're at right now, we have a pretty good amount of noise insulation. You got really no noise at all coming from the mirrors. A little bit of noise coming from the cars passing by, and a little bit of tire noise too. But pretty well insulated car, if you ask me. As you see, the lane keep assist does a pretty good job with keeping me in the lanes. I wasn't falling asleep. I purposely veered into the opposing lane when there's nobody coming, just to see how that works. You almost get this rumble strip feel in the steering wheel, and you have the yellow lights light up in the dash right there to let you know that the lane keep assist is active, and it will gently steer you back into the lane if you go far enough over. Just a very interesting feeling, keeping your foot still on the gas pedal but slowing down. As you can tell, I'm not too seasoned in the EV segment. Alright, taking a right onto this back road here, we'll get an acceleration test. We'll kind of get it from 25 miles an hour and we'll punch it and see how fast it gets up to 60. Okay, we got 25 right here, and oh, that's a lot of fun. 4.5 seconds to 60. There's a lot of vehicles that do that nowadays, but electric just feels different. It's just instant. You're not waiting for a transmission or anything, and it just gets going fast, very fast. On a really rough road here. I'm not quite sure why they did this sort of reclaimed pavement over there, but as you can hear, it's a lot quieter on this segment of the road. Just a super solid structure to this car. You could feel it. Very nice ride, but just extremely solid. Going over the bumps, it feels like the car is just bolted together very, very good. And it is a pretty comfortable ride. Suspension is obviously more on the comfort side. There's really no modes, driving modes this vehicle has, other than that sort of off-road mode that you saw earlier in the video. But just kind of one mode does it all, comfort, dynamic, anything like that. Very silent and brisk acceleration. But that one pedal drive just seems so unnatural. the second time I've driven a car with the one pedal drive, but I'm still not used to it. The car does have a little bit of body roll. You know, it is pretty heavy, having a pretty large battery underneath the floor of the vehicle. This is pretty much the bumpiest part of our test drive here, and it's all patchwork and whatnot, but the suspension is really soaking up the bumps very nicely. You know, more weight equals a more supple ride in most cases, and that is true with this vehicle. Definitely does ride nicer than the XC40 or XC40 with the gasoline engine. It also just feels more solid. You know, I don't know if the battery has something to do with tying in the structural integrity of the vehicle or what, but it's just unbelievably solid vehicle. And these seats are very comfortable too. You know, as in traditional Volvo fashion, you know, many people could agree that Volvo makes the most comfy seats in the industry, and this stays true with this car. You know, not the most comfortable seats in a Volvo that I've sat in. Obviously, we have the more, the more basic Volvo in the lineup. You know, we have the 40, the 60, and the 90. But yeah, super comfortable seats nonetheless. Lots of adjustability with the lumbar and the thigh extensions. The thigh extensions for me go a long way. I'm not quite sure what it is, but if I go on a little bit of a road trip, my legs start to hurt a little bit. But if I have a seat with the thigh extensions, it doesn't seem to hurt. So that makes a big difference for me, at least. The thigh extensions. Now, the steering also has two different firmnesses to it, which is pretty interesting. Let's see if we can get that up here. Steering wheel firm. All right, let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, it definitely does. Just a little bit off center, you can even feel it. Not a huge difference, but definitely makes a difference. That's pretty interesting there. We have one last straight right here, and we'll see if we have enough room to get another little acceleration out of it. Yeah, it looks pretty clear. Oh, such a fun acceleration from this car. Alrighty, so just kind of rounding our review and test drive of the 2023 Volvo C40 Recharge and the Ultimate trim. Pretty nice vehicle, I have to say. I've always been a fan of the XC40 ever since it came out. It's been one of my favorite Volvos, and now they added the C40 in the electric recharge version. I think it just adds some pretty neat elements, such as the blue carpets and just the kind of outlandish styling on the outside. I think this is a really cool vehicle. I'd like to also see if they would put a gasoline power plant in this car too. That might be something that I would be interested in my own personal vehicle, to be honest. Yeah, lots of great technology in here. You know, the Google system I am warming up to. You know, when it first came out, I didn't really like it, but now I'm warming up to it, and it is pretty simplistic and just easy to use, and that goes a long way. But I hope you have enjoyed the C40 Recharge just as much as I have, and I also hope you stay with us here at Ty Drives for more videos just like this one.